we're chatting at Remedista's Women to Watch Awards, and I'm so excited to be here. And when I was chatting with Kelly and she approached me and she said, Courtney, what do you think? Would you love to do a cocktail? I was like, about women to watch? Yes. I mean, the interviews that I've seen have just been so amazing. And then the women, it's just a whole range of women and backgrounds, some corporate, some entrepreneurs. Who couldn't want to make a cocktail for this? So when I was thinking about it, and then I thought about it in my own self, about how I push myself, how sometimes I don't take care of myself, I don't practice self-care. And it made me think about what would be a great mocktail and cocktail that would be restorative, specifically for women. And the first thing that came to mind was roses. And the reason why, because roses are such a funny flower, right? You think of them, you think of Valentine's Day, you think of all these, truly feminine ways, but then it's got these thorns, and then roses, can grow through different seasons. I mean, roses are amazing, and that's where we got to the drink. And the name of the drink is A Rose is Still a Rose. And it was inspired from an Aritha Franklins song, but just about women who are pushing the limits and are just staying beautiful through every stage. Roses are amazing flowers. They offer a level of immunity. They offer a level of digestive health. They offer a level in a very feminine way. If you drink it and you ingest it, it's really good for your menstrual cycle. It's also very calming and nurturing. And I mean, that is the superpower of roses. And that's why I thought that it would be great to use them. Then I have these fresh roses, but I'm gonna pull out a couple different kinds before we actually get into some parts of the drink. So I brought here two different kinds of dried roses because that's what I use during the year when I can't get my hands on natural roses. And we're gonna make a rose syrup today to use in our cocktail. Now you can use fresh roses, but you wanna make sure that those roses are organic and pesticide free. And you can go ahead and use them. You can just add them in once you rinse them and then put them right into the syrup, let it simmer, never boil, and then you set it to the side and you're great. So that's what we would do with our fresh roses. Oh, and because I'm always a repurposer, what else would I do with my fresh roses? I make dried roses. I just had to show you, I couldn't resist. So I'll use those as well if they're organic, and I will take those and use the buds later after I've been given roses, hint, hint. All right, so here we've got two different kinds of dried roses. These are rose buds that I actually got in Morocco. And rose buds are used a lot in Northeastern and Indian cuisine and drinks. And so I love these and I use those. I also send these sometimes as a gift. And let me show you where I got these from. These are out of India. I got these on Amazon, and they're rose buds petals. And these are really great. They're a little bit darker so that when you make your syrup will have that darker, more mysterious look. All right, so let's go in a little bit about making our syrup. So our syrup is going to be very simple. We're going to simmer our rose buds, and I'll go ahead and tell you the recipe. Let me go ahead and pull over my burner, and let's make our syrup. Now, what's great about this, and I'm going to show you the color first because I think that's more important. Look how deep and dark and beautiful that is. You'll see something moving around, and actually those are cardamom pods I like to put in it. Now, one of the things that makes it this dark color is I like to use more raw sugar. So this is a Demerara sugar. If you wanted to get that more vibrant, like the roses look, you would use a white sugar. But I use darker, natural, less refined sugars when I use them. And then as well as we're gonna make the syrup. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add in, I would say probably about a tablespoon of rose buds, and you can go ahead and just add them right at the bottom. I'm gonna make a simple syrup 1-to-1. I'm using 3/4 cup of sugar, and I'm gonna use 3/4 cup of water. and then we'll chat variations. I'm using this amount because I already got that bottle full of a whole bunch, so I don't need a lot. When I make this particular syrup, I'm making it with the intention that I'm going to use it within a week and a half. If you were going to make these syrups and you want them to last a long time, then you need to sterilize the bottles and go through that process. So we have these in here. Again, you don't want your rose buds to come to a boil. It adds a certain bitterness. You just want them to come to a simmer so that your sugar dissolves, and then you set it to the side and put a top on it. Now, I also brought a couple because I know there's a lot of different ways that people like to add sweetness. So if you're a person who doesn't want a really thick syrup and they don't want to use a sugar, you can go ahead and add honey, but get that once we make our drink, it'll make the drink go a different direction. But what you can do is you can make a tea with the rose buds, make it very concentrated, whisk in your honey. And then as well, another option is a date syrup, which is great. But again, the date syrup's going to give you another dark color, but I don't mind. So we're just going to stir this, and we are going to imagine that this is simmering to the point. And what you want to do is by adding those ratios of the sugar to the water, because of the delicate nature of the roses, you're not really wanting to wait for this to cook down as you normally would. You really just want the sugar to dissolve, and then you want the roses to steep right in the middle. And look at how amazing you guys already are, because what? We've already made our syrup and it's great. So we're going to set this to the side, and then we're going to cut our burner off. And all I would do is grab a saucer, and then you just put a saucer on the top and just let it sit to the side. And there you have your syrup. I'm going to go ahead and other ways. So beyond cocktails, specifically, we have a mocktail that we're making, and that one's called A Rose is Still a Rose. That's going to have a little bit of fresh grapefruit in it, making it seasonal. And as well, we're going to add just a little bit of rose water to it for fragrance. And then we got a second angle, which is a kiss by a rose. And that one's going to have a little gin in it, going to have a little shampoo. So we're going to be making both of those next time when we meet again. But one of the things that I love to do is, I know sometimes when you get to these really complicated drink recipes, you're like, well, that was really great, but what am I going to use that stuff for later? So you can use a rose syrup, which is great, and you could make a fresh cake and drizzle it over the top. You can and use it for imbibing. You can also use it as well on pancakes, which would be beautiful. And in this case, what I'm going to do is I've got a royal Moroccan tea that I made, and I'm going to add just a little bit to my tea as I have my cookies for the day. Because it's what? Tea time. Oh, it's beautiful. And the cardamon's in it is beautiful. So don't forget to check it out. Don't forget to check out the Women to Watch Awards. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be incredible just to see the journey that these women have been on. And thank you. I'll catch you again soon.